H2K's Yarnan, and the man behind the curtain, Prolly. Nice tie, by the way, Prolly.
Thank you very much. I chose it myself.
Yep, I know. I was there when you actually stole the tie. No, that's not true. We gave it to you.
Yeah, it's not stealing because I'll give it back.
No. Well, looking great anyway, and congratulations on that win. Talk me through the adaptations coming in after yesterday versus that Elements game that just went array due to basically one bad fight.
So the changes that we made was mostly the jungle change and kind of how we approached the game. Because initially we really liked dragon fights and us initiating them. And we realized the way people are picking is like Annie and stuff like that, and like Leona aren't being picked as much. So people are going for more like disengaged comps, which is like really aggravating to play against. So when we saw their picks, we realized like, okay, they really lack engaged, kind of like we did yesterday. So we, instead of us picking more engaged to kind of catch them, we're like, well, let's just make it so this guy never dies and then he gets farm and stuff.
So your plan was just to never fight basically until Kog'Maw is really strong and just go for the late game when it's impossible for you to lose.
Well, it's not never fight, but it's like when fights start well, we can continue them. But like I think the one at like Dragon, we actually started losing a bit, so that's where our comp prospers, because it was like, oh, the fight wasn't going well, let's run. But if the fight started going, well, it's like, okay, we can actually stay in this because we actually had good chase and stuff. But it was mostly like, when things go bad, we have a good escape button.
Yeah. And I'm getting on to you guys why you are so good, and I think it's because of the vision. Like you guys were like no other team in Europe. It's just insane to see how much vision you have at all times. Like, what's your role with that, or you just tell your players to get wards, get side stones, or they do it by themselves?
Yeah, that's my coaching. Guys buy wards. No, I mean it was really all Kasing and Lulex mostly. They do a lot of work with that. The kind of influence I have with that is a lot of times there's only one way to get vision, and that's either by like grouping or by sending like the jungler support duo to do it together. Because a lot of teams will have someone who knows how to ward, like the support, but the jungler doesn't know how, so now the support can't go out and work because he doesn't have a buddy. So I basically am like, all right, you can get vision here. And they're like, yeah, I can get vision here. I'm like, then go together. Like, so I kind of push them to play together more often, I guess.
Yeah, and in this game, it was also essential for you guys to stay together, because if you didn't, that was actually the one time that you ended up losing a fight around Baron, I believe it was. And Yarnan, you are, of course, an essential component in that comp. How was it playing for you? Because you have all that protection, but it almost feels counter-natural, I can presume, to run in like a Kog'Maw and run so far forward.
Yeah, but with the Lulu speed, and they didn't have a lot of gap closer, so it's pretty easy to just... all I need to be afraid of in that team comp is basically Victor's burst. And in their base, when I had 3 inhibs, we wanted to end, I was like, okay, whatever, and I would go a bit YOLO, and then I died. But that was the first time, or the only time in the game I did that. I managed to get caught by Victor, so... But if I don't get caught by Victor, it's like, yeah, it's fine.
So you're playing with essentially 3 supports for you, and your support even went as far as getting a crappy item like Argent Sensor just to boost you a bit more. Like, do you feel like God himself playing with that comp, or do you just feel really nervous because you know all the weight is on your shoulders?
It's not that hard to play Kog'Maw with 3 supports. You just get the speed up from Lulu, you go do 3 autos, 1 guy dead, and yeah. So that's basically it.
Yeah, Kasing also had the Medjais. He didn't get to 20 stacks, though, even though the Fissio predicted he would. Looking ahead for you guys, obviously, that bump in the road yesterday. Next week, you guys are playing Fnatic as well, and it'll be very important in the battle for 2nd place, because you have to win versus them to at least tie the record. So how are you looking forward to the next week, and then playoffs after that, probably?
Hopefully next week we'll get to do a lot of like theory crafting and actually try to bring up something kind of innovative, because if you saw like this week, I think a lot of teams are kind of like shooting in the dark to find out what's good. So in this next week, we're going to try really hard to figure out what's actually OP and what's just like, flavor of the week. And hopefully by next week, we'll figure it out either faster or we'll just figure out something that no one else has yet.
That'll be super exciting to see. Thank you guys very much, and congratulations, H2K. Now, coming up in just a few minutes is a clash between Fnatic and the Unicorns of Love. The Unicorns of Love need every win they can get if they want to lock down a playoff spot. So stick around and see what happens.
Yeah, it's good.
But you're
so low. Absolutely terrible.
On the
it's
right.
better now.
On the right.
I had it.
You guys can't hear me or
Oh
I'm
my
too loud?
We can.
I said yes.
Still alive is J1 forced away. Horus flashed in for this one. They've got one back. That's a massive Glacial Fissure as H2K get knocked in the air. He's got him with the Glacial Fissure. Kasing is the focus, but nobody's down yet. Absolute Zero being channeled as a throws H2K. Mr. Alls gets jumped on by Ryu as the turret lasers are doing the best they can to defend. We do see that Ice Blast getting caught out. Hyarnen's dive all the way to the back. H2K win the game and crush MeetYourMakers playoff dreams.